Hey folks, welcome back. And in an age full of Combiner Wars this and Titans Returns that, when you got to have a bot have 3 modes, and you got to have a bot have a headmaster or Titan Master, gimmick, sometimes it's nice to be able to look at a mold that was just plain fun because it was a great character, a great representation, and you could just change them from robot to car and car to robot. That's what we got right here. We're going to take a look now at one of my absolute favorite figures, favorite characters of all time. This is Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Wheeljack. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, and this is your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, check me out everywhere, check out everything I do, it's always appreciated. And we're going to look right at this guy. Love him. I love Wheeljack, always did. And when I discovered this mold for him, I loved it. Let's get a couple things straight. You know, you have the MP mold, and that's art. There you go. The MP Wheeljack, that's art. It's fantastic. You have the Combiner Wars version that is from the breakdown mold. I could see what they were going for. You know, it's not that it's a bad version of Wheeljack, but it certainly was lacking some paint apps, especially black around the windows and the arms. We recently saw the reveal of the Unite Warriors version using that mold. I think that one looks a lot better. But honestly, I think the standard, the go-to, if you are a chug collector, is still going to be this guy. He might be a little stockier than you'd think he should be, but it doesn't matter. This screams Wheeljack. So, paint apps. Again, I'm going to say about a 9. I'm going to say about a 9. Not absolutely perfect, but you would really have to sort of look at the animation to pick out the inaccuracies here. I feel like this might be a little more animation accurate, actually, than the Takara version, though that version, admittedly, has a nicer green and is probably a bit better overall. I don't think that one had the numbers on the doors, neither did this one, so I had to add them. That's why I'm saying 9. This is a reuse of the TurboTrax mold, and the only real difference is, you know, the legs were flipped around. Trax had his legs facing this way. Wheeljack has them facing this way. And I think it works for Wheeljack so nicely. So paint apps in both modes, yeah, I'd say about a 9, although I love the head sculpt. Look at that head sculpt. I wish that the pieces on the side of his head were probably a translucent blue instead of just clear, but wow, just wow. We'll look at posability, playability. You know, the head goes left and right and looks up and down. The shoulders can go, you know, way out to the sides, and I guess if you didn't have the wing pieces here, they could flip, you know, around 360. They can't quite do a 360 unless you sort of finagle it a bit. There is a bicep swivel way up on the bicep, and a double hinged elbow in a deluxe figure. That's fantastic. Wrist articulation, fantastic. Waist articulation, fantastic. By our thigh swivel, knee to 90 degrees, even a little bit of ankle tilt. It's kind of a fake, but it fakes it nicely. Love it. Does he have a backpack? Yeah, you bet he has a backpack, but I don't care because the rest of him is so good. He has all the articulation you could want. I don't know if I can think of anything that he doesn't have articulation-wise. So his articulation, I'm giving a 10. A 10. So, you know what, though I don't have the Combiner Wars Wheeljack here, let's just do a quick comparison, because we've all seen pictures, and we've all, you know, kind of got an idea of what that mold is like. I hope. If you haven't, hey, go look him up. Paint apps for this guy I said were a 9. I feel like for the Combiner Wars Wheeljack, they're probably more like a 7. For the Unite Warriors Wheeljack, hey, they're like a 9.5. They're really good. Posability, playability. This guy, in both modes, he's a 10. He's a 10. Either one using that breakdown mold, they're still pretty good, to be honest with you. Even though he has those wonky hips, I don't know. We'll say an 8 maybe. A 7 or an 8. Depending on the tolerances. Transformation. Well, the transformation for that one isn't bad at all. So I would give that transformation maybe an 8. This guy, let's get into his transformation right now. Actually, before we get into transformation, you'll notice he has a gun up here. This was the handgun, if I'm not mistaken, for Turbo Tracks. You can plug it in up here, and it becomes that shoulder thingy that he had in G1. Also, and I love this storage. This was back in the days of the, the C-clips. And they just store on a little black peg behind his leg. But you can take them out and you can give the guy wrenches. He has wrenches. That makes perfect sense for him. So I'm just going to take those off for now, and I'm going to take this off for now. By the way, he came with three accessories. Just saying, 3 accessories. So, where do we begin to change this guy? Well, pretty easy. You flip up the heel spurs, and that's the other thing. Though these were feet on Turbo Tracks, they're heel spurs on this guy. So you flip up the heel spurs, and you flip down the toe, and you tab it in, and you tab it in, and you push the legs up, and then you tab the legs together, and when you tab them together, you basically have a tab here, and you have a slot here between 2 smaller tabs, and that's what tabs the legs together for the most part. There's a couple of other, areas, but that's your main section of it. There's the front of the vehicle done. Now we will deal with the rest of them. You take the backpack off and you push this piece down and you bring the whole backpack up around. You take these little silver chunks and you flip it in and you flip it in. Bring the arms up over, and you want to bring the doors down, but when you bring the doors down, you'll notice back here you have these green hinges. You actually need to angle those green hinges down like that. Angle the green hinge down like that. You take the doors down all the way to the side, and then you flip them up. And when you flip them up, you should be able to tab those in as well. This one over here is being a little bit of a pain, but there you go. Did I get them? There we are. All of that is just flipped in there and tabbed in, and it looks just gorgeous. Now we need to deal with these arms. Well, you want to get the tires to the outside. So I would suggest putting the arm up, and then right here you see the green hinge that the tire's on. Flip that thing to the outside. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now you want to bring the arms back, and they need to fit in such a way that the elbows can bend. So you might have to turn the arms a little bit. You want the hands positioned in such a way that they're still facing out like this. This is the orientation you want the arms in. And you're going to push these arms back. All the way you can push them back. I push back on the elbows, and then I push in on the black pieces. And they'll tab in. If you do not do that, you'll push them back and say, yeah, they're generally in the right spot, and you'll go to flip this up, and you're going to get to about here, and it's not going to close, and you're going to wonder what's wrong. You really need to make sure that the arms tab in. Before I close this up, you take the gun that was on his shoulder, you fold it in half, and there's a hole in right there. I don't even know if you can see it. Maybe you can see it from the bottom. There's a hole right there, and this is going to fit in that hole. it should fit in that hole. You might have to fiddle with the right way to do it, and I probably should have fit that in there before I ever put the arms in there. Anyway, I have it in there now, and you can see, right, the peg is right there, and you flip this up and you just tab it in, and it's not usually, there you go, usually it's not bad to tab in. It pretty much guides itself, and boom, there you go, Wheeljack in vehicle mode. If you're wondering, hey, what do you do with the wrenches in this mode? Well, you can go under here and you see a black spindle up right there. You see a black spindle up right there. You take those little C-clips and you put it up over the black, maybe I should, this one goes on the other side. Black spindle. C-clip, there you go. C-clip right there. And you take this one and you put it on over the other spot, and there you go. It's kind of like exhaust. It does not hinder him at all. He still rolls like a champion. Now, I did add the 539 on this side and on this side, just using a little bit of black paint. They were bare. It was just a bare white door, and I really wanted Wheeljack to have his numbers. Is this a perfect rendition of his vehicle mode? No, but you know what? It's close enough that, especially with the paint, you could say, yeah, it's Wheeljack. Big fan of this guy. His transformation, not hard, as long as you make sure to tab in those arms. So I give his transformation about a 9. About a 9 overall. Even all these years later now, because this came out a few years ago, even now, all these years later, this guy is still a fantastic mold, a fantastic version of Wheeljack. I'm going to give him an overall score of 9. He is one of the best. One of the absolute best. And I love him. Even, you know, even the rims have a little bit of color. It's not silver. It's more like a gunmetal gray. The tail light's colored. How can you not love Wheeljack? You know, there's the top view. Just beautiful. Just beautiful. Now I know what you're thinking. GotBot, hey, do I go trying to hunt down this guy? Or do I just, you know, make do with the Combiner Wars version? Or hey, maybe I should order in the Unite Warriors version. The call's yours. I mean, everybody likes what they like, and you're entitled to like what you like, just like everybody else. Personally speaking, I don't feel a need to replace this guy on my shelf. And I would say if you can hunt him down, hey, hunt him down. But in the end, of course, it all depends on what you like, and the call is yours. Anyway, that ties it up for Wheeljack. And we are done with another review. So all I have left to say is, you know what, folks? Thanks for dropping by for a visit. It was great to see you, and I look forward to the next time that we meet up right here inside the videos.